Let's do the damn thing. All right.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. It's me. It's Paul. We're the Goodnight Groofs, and in front of you is a tier list. You've heard of tier lists before. I know you have. Literally everyone has done them, but this is the official tier list. You heard it from me. You heard it from Paul. You've heard it from everybody, really. The Groofs give the best tiers. Go look at our Elden Ring tier list. Everyone agreed with all of our opinions. No one said we're on crystal meth. Nothing. So in front of us is a WoW City tier list. WoW City tier list. You know what a WoW City is, Paul? What's a WoW City?
I believe a WoW city is a city you go to and you're like, wow, this city's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I did that once in Topeka, Kansas. It was incredible. But actually, these are world...
I don't think legally you can call anything in Kansas a city.
We have a World of Warcraft city tier list. You may notice a handful are missing. Oribos and Valdrakken are pretty much it. And you'll also notice Oribos is not on this list. Oribos is here on the bottom. This is assumed. It is our F tier because Oribos is actual dog shit. So we're going to get started with Booty Bay, the big fat Booty Bay. Paul, what do you think about Booty Bay?
Real quick before we get into Booty Bay, I just have to say a thing about Oribos before we move on.
Okay. No, let's dog shit Oribos real quick. Go ahead.
I just think the circular ring shape isn't bad.
Now. See, here was the thing. There was
look at Undercity.
Oh, don't you worry. We're about to get to Undercity. Well, we're not about to get to Undercity, but we will.
It's exactly last. It's the furthest thing we're about to get to.
No, it's literally the last one. The problem with Oribos is I would run around in a circle and not know which goddamn one had the barbershop without walking into each individual one. It was
That is true. I think that is the worst part about Oribos is that the circle is fine. Like their argument about the ring is fine, but it's not memorable enough.
No, there were so many goddamn times I would run to one side, be like, all right, I need my portal to Orgrimmar. Ah, shit, I gotta run another half mile to go to the portal because I went to the wrong side.
Yeah, I always knew what entrance was gonna get me into the auction house little cutout in Undercity, but I didn't know anything. So it's like clearly there was some good design there that I don't know about.
It was a little more well thought out.
And Oribos looked fucking the same
Literally everywhere.
You go. I got so, and then I also like had trouble remembering what was on what level of it too. Like the 2-level thing was really stupid in there. Just bad. So you know what? I came in defense of it, and then I immediately shifted gears because it had such a bad impact on me, in that I don't remember almost anything about its design.
So that all said, you can tell Oribos is F tier, and that is that. Then we move on to Booty Bay. I'll get us started. I personally think port cities in WoW are pretty fucking cool. Booty Bay is pretty cool. That said, it's a little underutilized, and I mean, there's just not a whole lot going on there anymore. I mean, why would you go there? I personally think it's a good little B tier, and that's because I got the Blood Cell Admiral achievement way back in the day in Wrath of the Lich King, where I had to just murder guards for I think 10 hours straight. So if I go there on my main pally now, all of the guards still fuck me up to this day, and I'm not even trying to get back on friendly. I'm just like, these fuckers can hate me. The Blood Cell Buccaneers can love me. I don't care.
You've been wanted for like 15 years.
Literally.
They have posters that have faded from the sun that have your face on it.
What do you think about Booty Bay?
Yeah, so like it's weird because initially when we were talking about doing a WoW City tier list, I thought, okay, well, are they going to add, expansion cities? Are they going to add Boralis, Shattrath, that kind of thing? And I thought, okay. But then, it's like, where do you draw the line? Booty Bay is probably where you should have drawn the line.
I agree. You could almost give it to Ratchet. Like Ratchet.
That's what I was going to say. But then I thought about it. Ratchet's kind of like a little town.
Yeah, it is.
But something like Everlook in Winter Spring with the walls and everything, that has kind of like a city feel to it. Or like Gadget Zan, is that a city? But Booty Bay really does feel more like a city than those places. It is larger. It is more expansive. It does have its own little cutout of the world. I love Booty Bay.
Where would you put it? I'll if you think it should be higher than B, I'll hear you out.
I think it's tough because it doesn't feel like a city to me, but I fucking love it. It's so cozy. It does have that Brazilian, the giant goblin doing like the Christ statue, so which good. For that alone, it should go up an entire tier. Captain Placeholder's there. There's so much classic WoW memories there that I just feel like isn't encapsulated in some of the other cities in the same way. I feel like Booty Bay should be an A tier because it is the only city that is not a city, and yet still it feels like it should belong in the city list, and that alone should give it an A tier.
Okay, you know what? I was pretty agnostic towards it. You gave like a passion, political, emboldened speech for Booty Bay. I think they should make you mayor. We're going to put it in A tier. Boralis, speaking of dope fucking port cities. Holy hell. I loved Boralis. And this is coming from someone who played basically exclusively Horde through BFA, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But I think Boralis is an easy A. The only reason I didn't give it an S is because I think there's better Alliance cities out there, and there's no goddamn auction house. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure there's no auction house at Dazar'alor or Boralis.
I'm pretty sure you're right, which is a huge loss on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, when she watches this later. I will say Rachel, my partner, is like obsessed with Boralis. It is her favorite WoW city, bar none. When I mentioned I was doing the WoW city tier list, she's like, can I just talk about Boralis? Like, Boralis isn't the top of the list, I'm gonna like kick your ass. So she's like, keeps making alts just to play through BFA to be in Boralis.
Wow.
So big Boralis fan. I myself have to say, I feel a little A tier about Boralis. I don't feel like it has that S that Rachel may feel. I just feel like there's a little bit of missed potential, but I think that's fair. But it's just that there's this whole part of the city that's kind of an enemy area that you can't really access very much.
Exactly.
Or you're getting beat up a lot. And I just think the part that does exist that you can go to that's safe and has vendors and has quest givers and stuff is quite large. And I think large enough to be considered like an incredible Alliance city. But when you put it in perspective and you see how big the city could be, like if you show me that, now you got to give it to me. And I'm a little disappointed that they never like phase it so you can have like the full access to this like enormous city, because it really has this like Silvermoon vibe, but then it's like a whole quarter or third of Silvermoon has enemies in it. You know what I mean? And it's like, why?
I agree with you. I think A is a solid little spot for it above Booty Bay. I guess port towns are gonna be living in A for the foreseeable future.
Port cities anywhere, it's really hard for me to give those a low score. It's hard to do it wrong.
Speaking of our next port city, Dalaran.
Is that a port city? A port city in the way that the air is the water of the sky.
And that planes like can fly into it. Planes.
Yeah.
Just,
is that a part of being a port city? I guess in America, right?
If you just don't think about it, it makes sense. So Dalaran, to me, this one, I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite because it doesn't have an auction house. Look, let's just be clear. Our rankings on this are going to be a little fluid, so just hang tight with us. Just shit on us if you don't like it. Dalaran is an S. I think...
So, sorry, what Dalaran are we talking about? Because that's going to make a difference.
I'm just talking about all of them because they're all basically the same, roughly. I think Legion Dalaran is cooler because it has all the little nooks and crannies.
Agreed.
That you can go to. Like the Rogue class hall was the coolest shit.
Yeah. Oh man, Legion. And there's that cool like sewer thing you can go into, and then that's the only place you can get that elixir of tongues where you can talk to the other faction and stuff.
It's so good.
There's so many weird little secrets in Legion Dalaran.
Yeah, Legion expanded upon Dalaran. That's why I'm gonna just say it's S, just because even if it's not classic Wrath, if you think it should be lower or higher, tell me all about it so I can.
I'm just waiting for our list to be like everything's just gonna sit in the A tier. But I'm kidding, because I know there's shit coming forward that is not going to for me. I don't know though. I just like feel.
Nostalgia may be carrying me on this one, so talk me out of it if it is.
It's just, I don't like that when I look out from Dalaran, I just see sky. I don't have any cool like topography, any cool like landscape, which is kind of boring to me. I know that's not necessarily the best reason to rank a city. I will say though, I also don't like that there's, well, I guess I do, but I don't love sometimes, I'll be like, oh wow, I'm really close to the portal, and then I'll realize I'm on the wrong character. I'm on the Horde character or the Alliance character, and then I get fucking rocketed out of that shit. But that being said, it is pretty cool, and I will say it was one of those things like Wrath, anything in Wrath, where like when it showed up, it was like, oh, this is the culmination. Like
exactly.
We've always wanted to go to Dalaran. Fuck it, why don't you can put it in S if you want. I think it's a pretty great city.
Let's do it, baby. Because the main point I made was it's small enough to be bustling, but it's big enough to be a spectacle.
Here's the thing, though. Can it be an S if it doesn't have an auction house? Ooh, I don't think it can.
Then we'd move Booty Bay up to S, though, because Booty Bay does have an auction house.
Well, I don't think auction house alone gives you the S. I'm just saying that's like a pretty big thing. It is the black market auction house.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I couldn't remember.
I don't think that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm sure you all will. But I don't think it gives you a higher score. But I think it does take a little point away for not having an auction house. I think Dalaran's high A. Dude, imagine not being able to, like, imagine pre-Brontosaurus or whatever, not Brontosaurus. What's the auction house?
It was
the auction house
yes,
one. Yeah.
Brontosaurus, yeah.
Pre-Brontosaurus, you're in Dalaran and you have to take a fucking portal to hit the auction house? That's brutal.
It does suck. You're not wrong. God damn it, Paul. It's gonna be high A. You're on the money. I think that's good. Up next, we're really getting into some spicy stuff now. We gotta ease you guys into this thing before we.
That's because it looks right now we're like, oh, everything's A, but that's gonna drop hard here pretty soon.
Exactly. You want to rub the balls before you stroke the shafts. Darnassus. Darnassus. Well, for one, in retail, it no longer exists.
I was gonna say, are we talking current Darnassus? That's just a pile of ashes.
Yeah, that would be in fire tier. The Darnassus, to me, I am floating between C and B. I don't have any intense conviction about this one because I started with a Night Elf way back in the day in 2008 just because I was like, ooh, Night Elf, cool. But I mean, who even goes here?
Dude, I mean, it's a dead city.
It's dead as shit. That's why to me, it's like, it's still really pretty. It has all the tangibles to make it a really cool city. It's just literally in the middle of fucking nowhere. I mean, it's literally at the top left of the map.
It's no Exodar in terms of being complete bullshit, but I will say it is. Here's my thing. Here's a hot take for me is that I don't really find like the purpley over the top Night Elf aesthetic to be pleasing to me.
Yes, like
when I was a kid, yeah, like it was fun to make Night Elves and be in that purpley, greeny magic zone. But by fucking Shadowlands and Ardenweld, and I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it. I'm boring. I play a human. I like to hang out in Elwyn Forest. I just like, I want realism from my World of Warcraft.
High fantasy, get it out of here.
Yeah, fuck that high fantasy, man. Maybe and no, maybe, because that could exist in real life. Something about that purple aesthetic just always threw me off. It's very vast, and there's also like design where you can like go around, and then you realize you're running behind a bunch of buildings in the lower tier, and then you realize it's on like a higher tier that goes around. Then you have to go to that giant fucking temple, which is cool to see, like Tyrande.
The themes are cool as hell, yeah.
But it's not usable.
No.
It's really far away.
Yeah.
Everything's far apart. And I fucking don't like it. I would D Darnassus.
It's just so fucking unusable.
It's just dated. It feels more 2004 than any other city in the game.
100%. I'd agree, aside from maybe like Gnomergon.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Darnassus is ass. Wow, that's a great joke, Josh. I'll be here all week. Dazar'alor.
Dude.
Fuck this place.
The aesthetics on this place fucking rock.
Oh, the aesthetics were fantastic. They were great. What I hated, I got the notes here. So if you see me looking at my notes for the folks at home, that's what this is.
You go off on this.
I fucking hated Dazar'alor. I played BFA from start to finish. I didn't stop at all. I actually like BFA. There's my hot take. I think it's not even close to leaving Oribos tier. Before flying, it was an actual fucking nightmare. You had to take a flight point. You had to run up steps. I was getting more steps in than a fucking marathon runner. It was incredible.
You were like Rocky training.
I honestly was. I thought it was horrible. I think you should never have a tiered city quite like this. If you're going to do it, layer it out wide, not up.
Do the aesthetics give it anything? Any point for you? Does that bring it to D or not even?
No, the music even got old to me by the end of it. Every time I'd log in, it's like I was back in Nam and I could hear like gunshots ringing out.
And I just felt unsafe knowing there was like jungle around. I was so high up above all this jungle, so I felt like very far away from the world. Like I know in Boralis you obviously are too because of the mountains and everything, but it still feels like if I go out, it'll feel kind of like where I am. If that makes any sense. Whereas in Dazar'alor, it was like, okay, jump down from this temple and then you're fucked. And also it had the same thing that Boralis had where, but I think worse, where it looked bigger than it was and then it turns out half of it is fucking enemies. And it's like, okay, great. So this other cool part couldn't even go to.
And not only that, there was like full like quest with the story you had to do, and trying to wander around that and figure out where you had to go, even with the built-in like quest helper, was asinine. The Oribos tier for Dazar'alor, it's dog shit. It's terrible. Get it the fuck out of here. Exodar. Oof.
I want to be nice to Exodar. I like the Draenei design, even though it's dated. I like it more than the Night Elf design. I thought it was a little more, well, I wouldn't say more creative, because I think, again, like early on, the Night Elf design was extremely creative. It just got a little tired for me. But so, I mean, it's like that back part of Undercity, but just the back part. and none of the cool aesthetic. You know what? Fuck this. I don't know. Why am I being nice to Exodar? You have to go up that giant fucking ramp, and then you have to like run out, and then you aggro like a couple like level 10 mobs, and you have to run to the boat. Dude, it sucks. And I almost think it should be an Oribos. Yeah, I think it should be an Oribos tier.
Holy
like
shit.
honestly, it has no redeeming quality to it to me. And here's the thing, I'll say too, I love Azure Misdial and I love Blood Misdial, and I think both of those leveling experiences are some of my favorite. Like I don't want to say like necessarily classic, but like that early pre-Kata leveling experiences. I think those two zones are incredible, and I still go back. It
holds up today. Yeah, exactly.
It holds up today. It's still some of my favorite. But man, Exodar was such a disappointment to get to after like enjoying those zones so much. It just has no good visual. The only visual design is like the fucking Naru stuff, which is cool. It's cool that there's a Naru there, but it feels more like a quest hub than a city.
Now we go from dog shit to goat status.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional just seeing it.
Ironforge is, I am a Horde player. I have been Horde for 15 fucking years.
Yep.
Ironforge, I don't even think we have to have that much of a discussion, but we're going to just to like nut all over ourselves about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the iconic high fantasy dwarven city. I don't think any game has done it better. Hot take. I think that in its heyday, it was the place to be. In vanilla, it was literally popping off 24/7.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a little out of the way, but not really, because you have the deep run tram. So I'm not gonna dock a point. The tram is so unique and cool. It's one of those cool things about the Alliance that I think is better than the Horde. It's like so gnomish and ridiculous in this high fantasy setting. It's great. I love Ironforge. It is dwarfs, and if you like dwarves, you're in hog heaven.
I gotta say, even though I'm not necessarily in hog heaven due to my medium feeling on dwarves, I'm pro dwarf. Rachel usually plays a dwarf, and I do like them, but not something I always jump to. But I will say, Ironforge is fucking incredible. I mean, obviously, I will say I like that they have a public transit system, which is nice. That gives them points on that. It is circular, which we've discussed, but with a lot of really great ways. This is like
good
what
quarters.
Oribos was trying to do, I think. Like mentally, they're trying to harken back to this, harken back to Undercity. They did a garbage shit job, but I think this is like the blueprint, right?
They spectacled the shit out of Ironforge.
Yeah, and I was a young Horde player. I played Horde exclusively. Well, I mean, like mostly exclusively, right? Besides like a couple alts, until probably into more like Mists and things like that. So I didn't really get to experience this in its heyday, but now nostalgically I can kind of look back and see that and kind of hear those arguments.
Ironforge S, that's where it sits. If you disagree, you can get out of here.
This is Josh's address. It is 324. No.
I was about to shit if you got the numbers right. Next up is our boy Orgrimmar.
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
I mean, it fits the Horde aesthetic probably the best. Let's just be honest here.
Sure.
I mean, it's spikes. That's what it is. It flows pretty solid.
Red.
It's red. Yeah, that's that's pretty much it. I mean, I've learned it up to this point mainly just because, like I said, I've played it for goddamn ever. But I think that it's just not. It doesn't flow as well as other cities, but it still does. It kind of does. I don't know. I like the redesign more, but the nostalgia for the old org is still there for sure, like you said.
This feels B to me. I'll say there's a lot of stuff that I love about it, again, but it feels like a lot of very disparate places that don't flow, like you said. Sort of understand how like the main drag goes into the drag, like the main area goes into the drag, and then I understand sort of like the seedy part, but then I don't know, it goes into the Cleft of Shadow. It's okay, but then the other side you come up to like the Valley of Honor. It just doesn't like super make sense to me how it flows through. I do like the new Valley of Spirits a lot. That's really cool. But I don't know. I used to like the old style where Thrall would just be sitting at the very fucking back with all his buds, just like being ineffective. That was pretty cool.
It made more sense as a defensive position, but I also
now he's just like right in the town hall, like it's like information.
Like Garrosh is like, "Fuck you, come and get me if you want it," when he built the city, and just putting himself right in the middle at the front. I mean, that's a pretty big move. Leading
B.
Maniac City B, I'm with it. I think that's a good place. Shattrath, I feel like I'm gonna piss people off with this one because I fucking hate this city. I think it's a miserable.
I have no love for it.
It's a miserable aesthetic. I hate the levels. I think the Scryer and Aldor was neat, but nothing to hang its hat on. To me, this is a D tier. I really don't have much else to add. I just don't think it's that
depressing.
impressive. I mean, Burning
Crusade
Crusade just like had this like I didn't like the vibe. I know some people like the weird futuristic vibe, but it was kind of like Shadowlands to me, where it just didn't fit the themes of WoW. Oh boy, Shrine of the Seven Stars and Two Moons. I was torn on this one, I'm not gonna lie, because I love Mists of Pandaria. I hated that it was 2 cities. Vale of Eternal Blossoms to me was, like, to me that should have been the sanctuary, the peaceful point where the Horde and Alliance can meet even with everything going on, because the pandas are like, oh, we must have peace, yada yada, yada, you know, all that. But the fact that they separated them into 2 cities and they're just the exact same things, just mirrored and flipped, is just kind of lazy.
Baffling that they would do that.
They could have done so much more.
Yeah, it doesn't have that lasting power. Well, I'll just say really quickly on this, I've never been to either of these cities once. I never thought about the fact that like Mists didn't have like I never thought like, oh, I wonder where the capital city was in Mists. I just never thought about it. I just went and did shit. I had my little farm. I've done other things. I've gone to, you know, major areas. I didn't realize there was supposed to be a capital city.
It's crazy. And the name is horrible. Like, you've got all these powerful names like Dalaran, Ironforge, Orgrimmar, Shrine of the Seven Stars.
I get that in Mists, they were supposed to be like, we're bringing back like Horde versus Alliance. Like, they hate each other again. It's like, okay, so they can't have the same city. It's like, okay, I'm with you on this. And then instead of just like them both picking 2 random cities, they should have like taken over the city a bit more. And like, no, but I just think that like, it would have been interesting visually to have like one look like here's the Horde one and here's the Alliance one versus like here's 2 mirrored cities. They can't be the same city because it wouldn't. I think they almost were like, let's make them both like hang out in this like Chinese city, and then they're like, oh shit. And I had to do some research for this, and I could almost find no information on these.
You know what's funny? I had them in C initially, but the more we've talked about it, and the more we've talked about how much better this city had we colonized them been. I'm going visually. So we would say C for colonization, but we're gonna go D instead because I 100% agree. Silvermoon City. Oh man, this one. So let's just get this out of the way. I am one of those guys, as you can tell by looking at me. I'm a sweet little femboy, and I love my blood elves. It's all I basically play. If you look at my character screen, it's literally blood elves and then like a druid and a shaman, because they just can't be. If they were able to be blood elves, guess what? I'd be a blood elf druid or a blood elf shaman. Why not both?
Hell yeah.
So that all said, I have a very soft spot in my Silvermoon. I think it's beautiful. There's auction houses. There's so much history surrounding it. It used to act as such a fun hub during the tail end of BC, when I feel like they actually kind of fell back into that WoW aesthetic when they, you go up to the Isle of Quel'Danas, you have to go to Silvermoon and do everything there. It just was such a dope hub, because I played a little bit towards the tail end of TBC, and I love that part of it. I would put Silvermoon as B, though, because you can't fly in it. You can't really do much of anything. It's out of the way.
I don't know though. I think you're selling it a little short.
Oh, hey, if you want to hype Josh, up and gas up Silvermoon,
please put Silvermoon higher. I'm trying to do this for you.
Yeah. Do it. Go at it,
dude. I fucking loved Silvermoon City. I love that entire fucking zone. Is incredible. The entire zone surrounding Eversong Woods. I love fucking Ghost. Why am I forgetting the name of this? What is it? Ghost. Yeah, Ghostlands. It's not a hard thing to remember when I got the ghost part. That first like inn you go to there with like those magic purpley curtains, and then you like walk through them and you're talking to people, and there's all these like hot blood elf people just like RPing together there, and then you see like one random like orc there, and you're like, what is he doing the filth in our city? Because the blood elves are snotty.
They are. It's great.
But once again, it sounds like we're advocating for the wrong message.
That said, dude. I God bless. This has been wonderful.
I want it to be an A.
Yeah, you're not. I literally was trying to be impartial, and in my impartialness, I hurt my dear sweet baby boy Silvermoon City.
It's out of the way. It's not necessarily. It's one of those ones where it's like functionally, maybe it's not the top city, but we just both fucking love it, and it's our tier list. So shut the fuck up.
Oh boy. I feel like you may have stronger feelings about Stormwind than I will, but I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about S-tier Ormwind?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Dude, fucking Stormwind, to me, is the quintessential video game city. Ooh. I love going to Novigrad in The Witcher. I fucking love that city. That shit is, like, better sure, but like, oh my god, Stormwind? Are you fucking kidding me? The different little island, the different little like, there's like the sewers and the what do you call that shit in Venice? The canals going through everything.
Yeah.
The park was incredible when that was a thing. But then they blew that up and turned it into like a beautiful monument. And then the fucking harbor. The harbor is
It's a port
insane.
City. It is a port city.
It became a port city, the harbor is when you walk through that gateway into the harbor from Stormwind proper, and you look down, you can die almost jumping off that fucking thing. It's so deep. The harbor is huge. And then they have that huge park at the back, Olivia's Pond, the embassy. I'm just naming shit in Stormwind. The fucking cathedral. This thing is just iconic in every way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really can't follow too much up with that. It is the quintessential high fantasy city. I'll say this, my favorite thing to do, and the music got me for the first time. It's why like Legion is another one of my favorite expansions. If you go to Varian's Tomb in Stormwind, that music kicks on. His theme, oh my god, it's the most perfect, somber, uplifting, wonderful tune. The composers for WoW basically said, "Let me fucking cook, Chief," and he cooked so well. 3 Michelin stars. That song is incredible, and Stormwind is just
You first walk across the bridge into Stormwind,
Bro,
those huge statues of all the heroes, and the music kicks in there. That is iconic.
Holy shit! I remember watching Asmongold, like when he was doing his first vanilla stream way back in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, that was 4 years ago.
Oh no, time.
But he walked in there and like everybody is just like freaking out in chat. I was just like, holy shit, this is it. Like it is the city. We could sit here and talk about it all day, but we won't. Stormwind S-tier. If you disagree, eat my butt. Thunderbluff.
Hot takes coming in.
Hot takes coming in for Thunderbluff. I'm actually impressed how much we've agreed on shit.
We're really similar.
We have basically been on the same path, and I wonder where we'll fall on this one. I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for Thunderbluff. I never really made Tarns. I just didn't give a fuck about being a cow. I hated the hooves. And the helmets look goofy as shit, too. Sorry, Fave. That's all he plays. I would put this
They just don't go up a butt very well.
No, they don't. So Thunderbluff to me would be C. Mainly because the aesthetic is cool. It is super, the tribal vibe is super tribal vibe. Jesus Christ, it sounds like a shitty rave. But,
it is for sure, yeah.
But Thunderbluff to me is going to be C, or could be C. I think just because it's...
Here's the thing to me about the elevators, I will say, they provided a great opportunity for hijinks.
That is true.
People did people like PvPing and like fucking shooting people off the elevator, waiting at the top of the elevator and like knocking them back and shit like that was absolutely incredible. I have a ton of nostalgia for Thunderbluff. My first 2 main characters that I played all the fucking time as a young person were Tauren. I was super Tauren focused, super Druid focused. I love the entire tribal aesthetic. I love Bloodhoof Village. I love all of Mulgore in a lot of ways. It's very chill. It's very quiet. It's very contemplative, very meditative. I think that's for all of Mulgore, but especially Thunderbluff. I love that when you first get up there, there's like beautiful pools just in the middle of like little ponds in the middle of the mesas. I also have great memories of people killing themselves on purpose in the pond and giving themselves funny names like "Help, I Can't Swim," which is always pretty funny when you first get into the city.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, it's incredibly inconvenient in the sense that like you have to kind of go up this spirally fucking thing to get to the different levels, and then you can fall down the middle. The flight master is at the top of that fucking spirally thing, which is crazy. You have to go through like those big Tauren like gateway thing, like those big like little house bridge things to get to the bridges. There was even on the different mesas, there's lower levels that have a different bridge to them that you have to take back from the main area. It's not convenient, but what I will say is it's in that way, it's also kind of like it's meditative. It makes you stop and think. You're looking out at the beautiful mesas around you, the beautiful mountains that separate you from the Barrens, and separate you from Orgrimmar and Durotar, and looking, you can almost hear the sound of the South Fury River rushing from the other side of the mountains. It's just beautiful. There's something about that. It's always blue skies there. It's always lovely. Karen Bloodhoof just made me feel so safe while I was there.
I you know what? Fuck it. I'm with you. I think a C would be unfair. In fact, I think it's above Orgrimmar.
I agree.
I think
Thank
Orgrimmar. I'd almost put. We'll get to it after Undercity. We may have
Dude,
some adjustments.
I'm with you. I'd be okay with this logic if you're thinking putting Orgrimmar in C.
I'm getting there. I think we might. I'm gonna see where Undercity lands, and then we'll move some things around, see where things land. I hate Undercity with a violent passion. It is the worst. The one thing I'll say about it, it is a circle. I'm so
It's a
torn
gut
on
thing.
it. This one's a gut one because I've been in Undercity so many times. It was like the go-to during Classic. It was where I always went, but it was just such a pain. Running all the way to Sylvanas' chamber. To me, Undercity, while I was originally going to go D, I think I could be fair and put it in C. But I will have to be hard convinced to go much higher than that because I just think it's underwhelming. The one thing I'll say, I think it's really cool from a defensible standpoint.
For me, Undercity is an S tier.
Oh, okay, all right, whoa. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right. So right off the bat, very similar to a lot of these cities, but there's something to me. I loved making undead characters. I think the new aesthetic is even cooler for sure, but the old aesthetic of everything being fucking destroyed in Lordaeron was amazing. And working your way up through Brill, all of the storylines are about people's families or being like, you know, broken up and being like old treasure from buried people and like there's ghosts. It's so good. Then you get to Undercity, and the cool thing about Undercity, right there's a Zeppelin. You can just fucking skip town and go to Orgrimmar at that point, but if you choose to go into Undercity, right there, you have the ruins of Lordaeron. There's a pre-entrance to the city, which I think a lot of other cities don't have, and that pre-entrance is not big enough to be, but it's meant to echo a city that already existed, the true city that's supposed to be there, Lordaeron, the city that was sacked. And I think that's so cool to see that, the ghosts of the people that were there. And then you go down on a fucking elevator and you are in this vast underground city. I mean, like, the aesthetic is insane. You have fucking gross ass abominations at every doorway. There's all these there's a huge ring when you first go in with all those little pockets with like everyone you could possibly need. You can sell things, you can get your armor repaired, you can do some trade skills. You go down there's those 4 staircases that go to the bank right in the middle, which is such an incredibly convenient place. You think the auction house, that's kind of annoying to get to. Well, you just kind of jump down, go across the bridge, you're right at the auction house if you take the right left. Now you have to get used to taking the right left. I understand that. Also, underneath that, in the same main area, before we even get to the auction house, there's those extra little bridges that go out from under the bank that go into like where the guild master is, and there's a little guy who hangs out under the stairs and sells you like a fucking spider or a roach pet, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you would expect to find there. Some weirdo catching roaches and selling them to you. Then you go out and it gets fucking huge. We're talking Ironforge level. We're talking, there's I think a lot of similarities between Ironforge and Undercity in like their design. In the sense that, again, you get these huge arching ceilings. There's bats flying around up there. There's another big river that goes through, almost like an Ironforge, where you have like that molten stuff going through the middle. And you go over these little bridges. There's people on the inside. There's people on the outside. You go to the outside of the ring, and all of a sudden now you can go even further. All of a sudden you're going into like the apothecary's like secret workshop. You go further back. There's a fucking sewer system that takes you all the way back to the back side of the city that you can sneak out of. There's another, when you go to fly, you fly in over that and you can see what looks like a ground city from above. It looks like looking at Stormwind from above, but it's underground.
It really is just, the aesthetics for me are just, it's just kind of ugly. And I've just this might just be on me being a big dumb idiot. I've just gotten lost so many times.
Yeah.
Not lost, it's just, I think it's because it's a circle. I think I'm going to the right side, and by the time I'm over there, fuck, I needed to go to the arms quarter, and I'm in the alchemy quarter. I gotta go haul ass to wherever. With all that in mind, I won't hit it at a C. I'm still falling on B. I can maybe, throw it above Thunder Bluff.
No. I think above Thunder Bluff is fair.
Okay, gotcha. So
Horde City's in B.
Horde City's in B, except Silvermoon. Before I close anything out, we're gonna go through and look at it real quick. Make sure we're good with everything where it's at. So S, easy. Stormwind, Ironforge, yeah, no shit. Those are staying.
I don't feel that Dal is A, but I know that a lot of people do. So I think if you feel comfortable with that, I'm still cool with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Boralis, I think I'm pretty comfortable with the A. Booty Bay. Speaking of ass.
speaking of Booty Bay.
The more we've talked about, the more cities we've discussed, I'm just like, they kind of pale. Like Thunder Bluff is better than Booty Bay, but not better than Boralis. I
Here's
think.
the thing. It's like what do we call a city? Because it's like I would maybe rather hang out in Booty Bay than I'd rather hang out in Thunder Bluff or Undercity. But the lack of amenities is troubling. Like there's no class trainers. There's no like it's
There's no
not a
washer
city.
dryer
I think it's
hookups.
hard to give it. Would you say?
There's no washer dryer hookups.
There's no washer dryer hookups. But I think that's got to be below Orgrimmar. I think it's got to be a low B.
It's funny, as you do these tier lists, you really start to get into the meat and potatoes of them. The cracks start to show in some of these cities. You're like, maybe not. And that's where I'm at with Org. I think you can move Orgrimmar to C, and it'd be.
I agree.
I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Anytime I go to Org,
I'm not
like,
inspired by
hooray.
Orgrimmar.
But I think comfortably we're probably good with the rest of the list. I have no complaints about any of these. Yeah, cool, great.
I was just thinking of maybe tossing that fucking MOP city into Oribos tier because who fucking cares?
Fuck it. Let's do it. Reason?
I didn't know it existed, which is not a good reason, and I'm sure the comments will roast me for like it's like your fault because you're a fucking casual, but it's just like it makes no impression on the player.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna leave it in D for my own sake, just because I do have plenty of fond memories
Oh,
of
you
it.
like it? Well, that's good. I didn't know.
Well,
Okay.
like it in like a is a very relative sense.
Like it in that it's better than Darnassus.
I like Mist of Pandaria much more than I liked BFA, even though I enjoyed BFA. So it's hard to put it down there with it. But that's really it. That's a pretty solid list, I think. What if you disagree with us? Please tell us. Tell us again that we're on crystal meth. That is what we're about.
Send
here.
an email to goodnightgroofs@gmail.com. Make sure you address it to Matt and tell him that you're personally offended by his opinions.
Request we get fired. I need this paycheck. I get paid 10 rubles every day.
Holy crap. That's tough to get exchanged right now, too.
It really is. It's bad. Usually they only use oil. So we hope you all enjoyed this. Paul, thank you for joining me. I think
Thank you for having me.
this was our first time doing this, and I think it went incredibly well. I think we're going to do this in the future with other tier lists. I think this might just become a regular thing if you folks like it at your house, at your apartment, at your hovel, wherever you may live.
At your one bed, two bath, and Razor Hill.
At your one bed, two bath. Two bath. It's
The
just
two bath is like two holes outside.
go. We need a new shithole, honey. Get to digging. But yes, thank you again for joining us. Thank you to all our wonderful patrons who will be listed. And again, we appreciate it. I hope you join us for the next one. And stay groovy. Have a wonderful evening, or morning, or afternoon.